What if I tell you that you can run the best model on the planet today 2 times cheaper without doing a lot of work? That is what this guy is claiming, where he's saying cut Fable 5 token usage by rendering text content as images. What? This sounds ridiculous if you read about it for the first time, but this is actually true. So, this project, PXPipe, which you will find the link for this in the description, this basically says that you can cut Claude Code's input tokens by rendering bulky context as images, the same system prompt, tool docs, and history in fraction of tokens. Now, this is actually really funny and interesting hack to get more usage out of Anthropic while, I don't know, just keeping the output same. But I want to go a little bit deep into what they are exactly doing and how does pricing work today. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how the pricing in AI world actually works in the first place. So what happens is companies like Anthropic buy a lot of these GPUs, CPUs, RAM, a lot of hardware. They put their models inside them. These are obviously connected to, electricity, and this is like a data center, and you have to pay for employees, for management, all of that. So the actual money is going for the regular stuff and the hardware that they have bought, but they don't charge you for that. They charge you for something they call as a token, right? And a token is nothing but sort of like an output of the large language model which is getting generated. Now if you think about it, it will become a little bit obvious that token is not exactly the cost that even Anthropic or any of the AI providers is incurring. What they are incurring is fixed cost of running this rack, right? And the electricity, and obviously the CPU cost and all of that. Like the more CPU you use, the more energy that electricity would consume, and so on. So this token cost that we usually see, right, which is like for 1 million, it's going to cost you like $5 or $10 or whatever. In some sense, this is an arbitrary cost, right? It is an arbitrary cost. Yes, you can run some numbers and figure out, based on our usage of, let's say, 100 million people or, 1 billion people using this model, we would estimate that if we are doing, let's say, 100 trillion tokens per day on this specific model, it'll come down to this much cost. And, you can just run those numbers, run those math. But the reality of the situation is that this would actually be a lot cheaper for Anthropic and for other inference provider if a lot of people are using their models, right? Because this is a fixed cost system. Yes, you need to scale it with the usage. Of course, you have to scale it, but it does not scale as fast as their revenue scales from the token usage, right? So their token money obviously would be slightly overpriced compared to what they are actually paying if it is used in the best case scenario, which is like close to 100% utilization at all times. Now, the hack this guy found out was that images are read by the model itself first, right? So for example, look at this image. If I zoom in a little bit, I can't even zoom beyond this, but you will be able to see that this is sort of some text, right? This is not like, this is an image, sure, but this is also text. And inside a large language model, when you put in text directly, which is what we generally do when we are programming, what an LLM do as a first step is it runs it through a tokenizer, right? And if you get some text which is just a little compact, for example, let's say you just pass in hello world, something like this. Now this is obviously too simple, but if you try to pass in a complex JSON object, for example, look at this. If I start writing something like hello world, and I try to make it a little bit complex, adding some prop 2, or let's say some encoded code, right, which is a sort of like a compressed code. So you see this string itself is already 20 tokens, right? And if you're writing a large, like if you're importing a JSON file, or if you're writing a code file which has some weird data or some weird class names or whatever, that could actually increase your token count a lot. On the other hand, when you pass in an image inside a large language model, the tokenizer does not work exactly in a similar way like we saw it for the text, right? In that case, it is mainly built on the dimensions of the image that you are passing. So Anthropic checks how wide your width, how wide your image is, how tall your image is, and based on that, it will run a formula and it will apply a fixed token cost. Now, it doesn't matter in that image if you have just written like a big Mehul, like this, or if you have written extremely small Mehul, but 100 times, right? So this is sort of the exploit that, that repository is sort of trying to make, that it's trying to pass in a lot of tokens, lot of input as an image, and there is a threshold, right? There would be a threshold where the tokens from the image, if they're small enough and if they're fitting enough, would actually give you much better output in terms of tokens consumed than just passing raw tokens. So that is what this basically is about. And the interesting thing is that this works the best possible way with only Fable 5, even though image recognition and OCR has been there in other models as well. So you see here, he mentions Opus 4.7 and 4.8 was the original Claude scope, but misread 7% of renders. So it was turned off by default once Fable 5 hit 100 by 100 with identical image billing. So you can technically use this with Opus models as well, but he's saying that Fable is much more accurate in order to use this. And what this repository is in general is basically that it allows you to just use Claude Code normally, but internally it would override the prompts that you're sending as images instead of just regular text. Let's take a look here. So on the left side, which is this side, this Claude that we are seeing, this is the plain text, and on the right side we will have this repository getting used, right? So he sends this text, just having a normal regular conversation, and Fable is responding. Similarly on this side also, but you look at these conversations, they are basically the same responses, same stuff that Fable has done. But in this case, because he's using his override of, just using images, the context is used as 22,000 tokens. But over here, the context is almost 50,000 tokens, right? Which is more than the double over here. And it obviously reflects in the cost as well, where the plain text one is $1.26. The image one is just 73 cents, right? And this would obviously grow as your chats grow. Now, before we move forward with actually seeing how this works in practice, if you're watching this video, chances are that you like money, right? And you like saving money. And that is where today's sponsor, Warp Build, also comes into play. Warp Build is a dead simple product. What it does is that it saves you money on your CI builds. If you have ever used GitHub Actions, you know that GitHub Actions are slow, they are expensive, and they actually cost you money. Warp Build allows you to run GitHub Actions 2 times faster and 50% cheaper. That results in a lot of savings, just like we are seeing with Fable 5 in this video. Their cloud runners are basically a drop-in replacement for your GitHub Actions if you are using them, and it instantly allows you to save money because they use modern, better hardware, much more optimized for CI workloads than the standard regular virtual machines that GitHub Actions give you. They have all the features that you would need in a CI system, from unlimited concurrency to using any sort of operating system that you require. And if you need full control, you can also bring your own cloud provider. So Warp can run on your own hardware as well. I mean, just look at these results. They are absolutely mind-boggling if you think about it. Something which takes you 3 minutes to do, you can only do it in 1.5 minutes. Or probably something that takes you 4 hours to do, you can do it in 6 minutes in some rare cases. But it's absolutely possible that you get 2 to 10 times speed up on your workloads when you use modern, better hardware for running your CI systems. Once you log in into Warp Build's infrastructure, you're going to see that you have a lot of these instances to pick from, and the specs on these instances are clearly defined so that you can pick the right choice for your workload. Once again, thanks to Warp Build for sponsoring this part of the video. If you want faster CI builds that save you money, do check them out. All the links are in the description. And now back to the video. Now this is a project which is relatively new, so I did not get time to review the code and what the code exactly is. So I would not say you that you can just go ahead and install this. This is an NPM package, but this definitely looks interesting to me and something that you can give it a try, probably inside a Docker container or something where you can just sandbox this, or if you want, you can review the code as well. You can't really ask Fable to review the code, it'll just trip its guardrails, but you can just review the code and then run this, right? So what you have to do in order to run this is just write npx pxpipe proxy, which is going to start a proxy server, and then you have to override the base URL. So in case of Anthropic, they give you a flag of base URL. If you pass this before running Claude, or if this is just an environment variable, what happens is that Claude as a harness needs two things. It needs the API endpoint where it has to hit, and it also needs credentials like the API key, right? And Claude allows you to just override both of them. So you can specify a custom API key and the API endpoint's base URL, which is what those guys showed you in the GitHub repository. That can also be customized at the time of launching Claude. So if you proxy this, what's happening is that that proxy system is the one that is sitting over here, and any request that Claude tries to make goes through this proxy server, and the server itself converts it into an image first, right? And then sends it to Anthropic, right? So you yourself are not doing any sort of image manipulation, or you are not writing anything. It's just that they are doing it on your behalf, and Anthropic then responds back with the regular output because it just does the OCR and image recognition on its own. But this is working best with Fable 5 as far as the author says. Now I want to give it a spin. So let me just see how I can do it. So I'm just going to run Node directly over here. And as you can see, I have my Node version going on. In fact, let me go ahead and actually run this with a network of hosts, so at least I can access the URLs. And now I'm going to go ahead and do this npx pipe proxy first of all in order to establish that server. I'm going to open another terminal over here. I also have to install Claude Code first. I don't think that should take a lot of time. Awesome. So I have a Claude instance running over here. I have this dashboard over here, which I open. You're going to see something like this. It just has Fable 5 selected by default. So let's just keep it that. And let's see if I send it a message. Hello, how are you doing today? Hit enter. Let's see. So it's on Opus 4.8. Let's switch that to Fable. And let's say that's awesome. All right. So this is getting proxied through the proxy that we are running over here. And you can see that it has already saved me 30 cents on this, right? So I'm using an API for doing this. And this is the sort of thing that it sent the model, right? Finally, because this includes the whole system prompt. I think you should be able to see like what it is sending. Now clearly looks like some bug with the scrolling over here, so I can't scroll down all the way. But I mean, you sort of get the idea, right? So this is something that will start saving you money instantly, which is actually not a bad idea, right? So this response that Claude is giving me back is not coming for a text response, but rather for something which has been given to it as an image. So I can ask it like, what all can you do? Can you spin up a dead simple HTML game? And let's see how this behaves. Can you run a static node server and tell me? And yeah, as it's working on these applications, you're going to see that this keeps on increasing or decreasing, whatever, but the amount would just keep on increasing, the amount which is saved, right? So it's jumped from 30 cents to 36 cents now, which is actually pretty amazing if you think about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I will leave the link for this project for you in the description. I mean, people are definitely discovering this. I just started and it jumped 8-9 stars directly. Yeah, that's all for this one. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna see you in the next video very soon. If you're still watching, make sure you leave a comment, "I watched till the end" below to tell me that you were still here, and let me know what do you think about the video.